Last year, the U.S. Supreme Court allowed states to fully protect life again. This is welcome news for Arizonans who have a long history of protecting life. We codified our pre-Roe law over 100 years ago, reenacted it in 1977, and reaffirmed it just last year. All life is precious and valuable the moment it comes into existence. Life begins at conception. At just 6 weeks, an unborn baby's heart begins to beat. At 8 weeks, she has fingers and toes. And at 10 weeks, her unique fingerprints begin to form. Many states, like Arizona, are recognizing the humanity of unborn children and giving them a chance at life. But the abortion industry continues to push an extreme ideology on Arizonans and Americans across the country. Abortion businesses have a financial interest in performing elective abortions, not in providing information and options vital to the health of a woman and her child. They are doing everything they can to stop Arizona's life-affirming efforts. While abortion businesses, federal officials, and other states are pushing for policies that force taxpayers to fund elective abortions, remove conscience protections for healthcare professionals, allow abortions through all 9 months of pregnancy, and allow minors to obtain abortions without parental consent, Arizona's law affirms that life is a human right. I'm hopeful that the court will uphold this life-saving principle.
Hello, my name is Dr. Eric Hazelrigg, and I'm honored to serve as a representative for unborn children in Arizona in this important case before the Arizona Supreme Court. I'm committed to respecting human life at every stage, and as an OBGYN, it is a privilege to help families meet their newest members. Arizona's pro-life law affirms the dignity of every man, woman, and child across the state. Over the last almost 35 years, I have been blessed with the opportunity to deliver over 15,000 babies, each one of them unique from the moment of conception. And I have the honor of serving the women and families bringing those children into this world. Each woman I serve is also unique. Both deserve real support and real health care. I also serve as a medical director for Choices Pregnancy Centers. At Choices, we don't perform or refer for abortions, but instead provide a safe place to talk, explore options, seek medical services, receive resources, and hear about the hope available to all of us for a better life. That's real care. Dozens of other pregnancy centers across the state are ready to support women, providing free material resources like diapers, baby clothes, cribs, and car seats, as well as parenting classes and other programs. We pray that unborn children will be protected under Arizona law and that women and families receive real support and real health care. We all deserve the dignity and respect that is upheld by laws that affirm that life is a human right.
You taking questions?
Yes, they are taking questions.
Let me ask an obvious political question. We heard the attorneys, and I know every attorney comes out and says what a brilliant job they did. Assuming you win, doesn't that put more pressure on voters to say if the alternative is 0 abortions or the ballot measure, doesn't that essentially put pressure on folks to say, given that choice, I will approve the measure in 2024? Whichever one of you wants to handle that one.
Arizona has every right to fully protect unborn life, and for over 100 years, Arizona has affirmed that life is a human right. In 1977, Arizona reenacted its pre-Roe law, fully protecting unborn life from the moment of conception. Just last year, the Arizona legislature, the voice of the Arizona people, reaffirmed the original pro-life law. That tells us that the Arizona people want to affirm that life is a human right. Whatever may happen in a future legislature or through the ballot initiative, life should be protected. Life begins at the moment of conception, and Arizonans have every right to protect unborn life.
So basically you're saying that because the legislature in 19 whatever approved Roe v. Wade, approved the 15-week law in 2022, we know what the governor said about that. You're saying it will have no effect on voters in November 2024?
We're not here to discuss politics in court today. Arizonans have a right to protect human life from the moment of conception. And the legislature has repeatedly affirmed their commitment to protecting the unborn in Arizona. That is reasonable and right. It's a good thing to do. And we're very hopeful that Arizona voters here and in the future affirm that life is a human right for everyone.
So what is the pillars of your argument for the difference between abortion is needed to save the life of the mother and something that's immediately needed when it goes to 15 weeks? What's the difference? What's the example of something that's an emergency to save needed, or something that's needed to save the life of the mother and not an emergency? Like post 15 week
Dr. Hazelrigg might be best available to answer that one.
I think an example you mentioned in court was maybe a cancer. A pregnant woman has a breast cancer or has a cervical cancer that was diagnosed at one of her prenatal visits. That would be a life-threatening condition, but would not necessarily immediately threaten the mother's life or the baby's life. Whereas if a mother, let's say, was in heart failure and delivery or pursuing the rest of the pregnancy would put her life at immediate risk of dying, then that would be an immediacy type situation.
But if the doctor knows at 6 months of pregnancy that a woman will die if she gives birth, that would not be immediate, but would they have to wait until the woman's actually giving birth before the abortion at that point?
That would, if she's going to die giving birth, that would be more of an immediate concern as opposed to something that potentially could kill her.
And I'll note that under...
wouldn't be immediately necessary at 6 months?
Well, let me say this. At 6 months, there would be another law here that would kick in, Arizona's viability law. Our legislatures has said that unborn children should be protected to the fullest extent possible. So at 6 months, it's very possible that we're talking about a viable unborn child. And physicians are required to do everything necessary to protect those children because life is a human right. And we here in Arizona, we support that right.
How do you square the conflict that we've heard about today? If both laws are in effect, they believe they can coexist, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
So what does a doctor should do when a woman comes to him at, say, 4 weeks and seeks an abortion? And under one law, that's legal. Under another law, that's pending.
Well, under one law, it's not regulated. It's regulated under the pre-Roe law. So when the doctor receives a woman in that condition, he just needs to make a good faith judgment about whether the termination is life-saving or not. If the termination is life-saving, then that termination is not punishable under Arizona law.
You're saying the 15-week ban really isn't in effect because under the 15-week ban, the doctor can go ahead with that abortion. It's legal until 15 weeks, correct?
Well, you have to look at the law in its entirety. We don't just hand-pick certain statutes to follow and others to not. The pre-Roe law fits together with the 15 weeks law.
What about the Cape Cod situation in Texas? How would that apply here? The Cape Cod situation in
There you're talking about different laws and different facts. Here we're dealing with a facial challenge, which means that we're dealing with how these laws logically fit together like a puzzle. And Arizona has fully expressed its commitment to protecting unborn life from the moment of conception. And we're very...
the circumstance, where we have a similar situation here,
If-
where even a judge says, you know, she needs it. The multiple doctors said she needed it. It's threatening her health.
And to be clear, I don't know the entire facts of that case, but here in Arizona, if the termination is life-saving, it's fully allowed under Arizona law. And after 15 weeks, if it's life-saving and immediately necessary to either protect the woman's life or to prevent significant and irreversible bodily impairment, then that termination is allowed. That's how these laws fit together.
But are you worried that so you're saying that the two laws do not conflict?
Absolutely not.
So if those laws don't conflict each other, are you worried that medical providers are going to be confused about the language of those laws? And how would you like to see that be messaged to them, I guess, communicated if those laws are unopposed? Because to most people, that might seem like it might be conflicting.
Yeah. Well, the legislature has made its intent clear by the text that it has enacted. They have affirmed that life is a human right, so we would expect physicians to look not only at the 15 weeks law, but the pre-Roe law to see how these requirements fit together, and certainly clarity will hopefully come from the court, which is why we're here today. We want the Arizona Supreme Court to affirm that life is a human right and uphold the legislative intent to keep its pre-Roe law, protecting unborn life from the moment of conception.
If both the life-saving choice and the immediate life-saving choice
are different, then why would we not want to save the life of the mother, whether it's immediate or not immediate? Well, it's because of the growing interest of the state in protecting the unborn child. The viability line for unborn children has been going down and down for the past 50 years. So at 15 weeks, the state comes in and says, hey, at this level, we need to balance protecting the mother's interest as well as the unborn child. Arizona is trying to protect as much life as possible here, and it's found a reasonable solution.
Why wouldn't the legislature just spell this out more clearly? And if they didn't have the votes to do so, could that really be their intent?
Well, it's very clear. We can certainly debate the grammar of how the legislature conducted its law, but the text is very clear in what the legislature accomplished.
If it were that clear, I don't think probably any of us would be talking about this. In the other states like Mississippi and states where they've had trigger laws on the books did make it very explicitly clear.
But Arizona used its own text. There's nothing that requires Arizona to match Mississippi's text. We have used similar language over the past 50 years in nearly 10 different laws. So we just use the same text we've always used.
But why would they leave it open to interpretation if they had the votes to make it clear?
Again, that's the dispute of the case, and we believe the text is very clear in that it affirms that life is a human right and that nothing in the new laws repeal the pre-Roe law that fully protects human life.
One of the last things the Chief Justice said to you is that it's unusual to expect a physician to read through all of these to figure out what it's. Are you concerned about that word, unusual?
I don't think it's unusual at all. In fact, that's what physicians have to do right now. Title 36 is a catalog of different statutes, and physicians have to piece them all together to know what is required and what is not required. This is just saying, look, we have to look at all the laws, including the pre-Roe law.
Are you concerned the Chief Justice thought it was unusual?
Now, I'm confident that the court understands that Arizona has been fully committed to protecting unborn life, and they've made every effort to do that over the past 50 years.
The history shows that abortion wasn't stopped because of the pre-Roe law. There were abortions going on, they just weren't as safe. Is that kind of what you'd like to see that return to?
All human life is worthy of protection. So Arizona is well within its reason to affirm that life is a human right from the moment of conception, and we support Arizona's law here.
Time for one more question.
Just to follow up on Ray's question, maybe all life is worth protecting. Worried that if the court sees things blow away, we're open back alley black market abortions that are typically less safe for women involved.
Well, the answer is not to add injustice upon injustice. The Arizona legislature is very reasonable in wanting to protect as much life as possible. All human life has dignity. We're here to affirm that life is a human right. It begins at conception, and science over the past 50 years is increasingly proving that this is the right answer. We're very hopeful today that the Arizona Supreme Court will affirm that life is a human right for all, including some of the most vulnerable among us, unborn children. And we're very confident that the court will see the...
Occurred in Arizona prior to Roe. They just didn't occur legally, which gets to his point. Abortions will not stop. So are you essentially forcing folks out of the medical system away from qualified doctors?
There's no reason for the state to support that activity. The state regulates all kinds of conduct, and they always want to ensure and protect life to the greatest extent it can. Whether that happens in fact, we certainly hope it does. But the state is well within its reason to affirm that life is a human right.
All right, thank you everybody. If you have any other questions, please come and talk with me. If you need a name spelling or if you need anything else, please come and see me afterwards. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you.
I'm known as whistleblower and every time I say
Why would I say this on?
Have you all signed to get it on the ballot? Try to get it on the ballot.
Mary.
Susan.
Yeah.